I'm Anastasia, and this is something that helped me. I know every story is different, but I hope that in this you can find something to help you as well. Best of luck.
Talk to a friend. When life feels a bit overwhelming, it can be refreshing and so comforting to see a friend and sit together and talk. Even if you're far away from friends and family, calling and talking can really be wonderful. It's nice to have someone to share your story with and share your concerns. Even if you're not really ready to talk about things, it can be a great distraction to call a friend and just joke around or reminisce about silly stories or fun events of the past. Recalling these fun memories of the past can really help boost your mood. Even in the darkest times, it can feel like a great relief to laugh out loud with a friend. When Ben was first diagnosed, I avoided calls because I felt so terrified. I did not want to face the question, "How are you doing?" And I most definitely didn't want to go into the details of how he was doing. So I avoided talking to friends. Looking back, I can see now that my loved ones were only trying to comfort me, and if I had been able to allow myself to talk, it probably would have felt good. It really would have helped me. Only you can know what will feel comforting to you, but I would encourage you to at least find one friend or family member that you can talk to. Life can be so difficult, and it can feel so much harder when you're facing it all alone. Everything seems a tiny bit more manageable knowing that you're not alone. Who can you call when you need to talk through difficult emotions? Write it out in your journal so you have a note and you remember. Call this person when things are rough. If things are hard but you do not want to bare your soul, how can you answer the question, "How are you?" That is something I didn't know to figure out when Benjamin was first diagnosed. I wish I had known at the very beginning. I had a ton of free time. I could have spent a really long time perfecting the perfect response to this question. Over time, I finally found something that I would say, but I would encourage you to take some time in your own journal if this is difficult for you. If you're like me and you avoid answering the phone because you don't want to answer the question of "How are you doing?" If you're like that, take some time and write out an honest, true response that glosses over whatever you want to gloss over and moves the conversation on. I actually worked incredibly hard to come up with a response that was true while still short, and followed with a change of topic and a question for the other person. Once I figured out a good response, the fear of the question no longer made it hard for me to leave the house. So you can be better than me. I think I waited like a year or a year and a half before I figured this out. It was really difficult to me all through the time of all of the beginning parts of this journey. I just avoided people. I avoided conversations. I avoided going out. I avoided answering the phone, all because I did not want to answer this question. You don't have to do that. I'm giving you a tip. You can figure out your perfect response to the question. Whatever it is, every personality is different. I know that some people would just say, "I don't want to talk about that," and move on. I couldn't do that. Maybe you could do that. But anyway, you can figure out what's your perfect response to the question, so you don't have to be afraid to go out and go in public and go places and be with your people. And if you want to talk about things, you can. But if you don't want to talk about things, you can have a phrase already in your pocket that just changes the topic and ask them a question about themselves. People love to talk about themselves. So getting the ball into their court, I don't know if that's right, but anyway, getting it into them talking about themselves can really take the pressure off of you feeling like you have to explain what's going on. So anyway, good luck.
It used to really bother me. Every single person would say, "I don't know how you do it." And for me, I realized the answer is one day at a time, sometimes 1 minute at a time. People would say, "I could never do that." Yes, yes, you could, and you will. The journey is long and bumpy, but keep taking those tiny steps, and you can do this. I promise. Whatever is standing in front of you today, You can get through it.